In this episode, I'll cover off a range of techniques for hunting yellowtail kingfish, and these techniques can be employed and modified to hunt other pelagic open water predatory species all over the globe. The key to success with kingfish is to pique their curiosity, as these fish, along with many other species, have not adapted to be wary of a predator that ignores them. And as they are opportunistic feeders that hone in on vibrations in the water, we use this to our advantage so we can select the fish that we want to shoot at close range and make a good holding or kill shot. Now, before we go further, I'd like to explain a fish's lateral line system, which are sensors that fish have for picking up vibrations in the water, not to be confused with electroreceptors that sharks and rays use for detecting minute electrical currents in the water given off by marine animals. Learning how the sensory system works is beneficial not only for hunting kingfish, but all other fish species across the board. Now, kingfish use their lateral line system to seek out vibrations and disturbances from potential food sources, such as sharks feeding, schools of baitfish, and vortices created by fleeing prey. So they are often curious when it comes to spearos. Their curiosity diminishes with age, and they know what food sources produce and what don't. Now, I will admit that fish can and will break any and every rule. However, it pays to learn common behaviour so that we can predict the fish and use that knowledge to target them. Now, typically, tide depending, this is a feeding zone, and it can have a lot of activity, particularly on... I do not use the rate yourself relaxation technique that we covered in the how to increase your breath hold episode, as often, when a school of fish appears underneath you, you simply don't have the time. I just make sure that I'm ready and relaxed enough to make the most of the hunt. I can say, on the other hand, that grunting underwater has turned fish back to me with a far higher success rate. And the sound that I'm sort of trying to get is it pays to note that there is a common myth that a large spray moving across the workup is a large predatory fish attacking the workup. However, in my experience, being in workups time and time again, this is often caused by a fish spooking due to a bird diving or something similar. And this panic moves across the school due to the lateral line sensors, as we mentioned before. So we can't really gauge if kingfish are in the school or not because of this behaviour. The only way to find out is to get in the water and search. Now, we employ the same technique. I cannot stress enough that general calmness across the board is key here. Not only will it increase your breath hold, but your shot windows and opportunities will grow exponentially. G'day crew, so I went out yesterday and shot a kingy, and it's been on ice overnight. So what I'm going to do is just show you guys a little bit about shot placement, where a kingfish's brain is, where its spine is, and good spots for getting good holding shots on fish. As I'm being pulled back over the reef by the current, I often have to pull the fish up and try to control it as best I can over the shallow section, which can be quite interesting. And what you'll obviously feel is like you'll see the fish's eyes shuddering, the fish will shudder a wee bit, and then they'll go completely limp. Is have a pile of salt nearby and ready, and you can either do a pile of salt or salt mixed with sugar and have a dry rub. And what I do is cut the blood off the fish. It just helps it. Big, triple rubbers with slip tips and things like that. That's just way overkill. And remember that we're hunting other species at the same time. So, a nice compact gun is a lot easier than a big bulky thing, and we can target snapper on the same ledges that we're finding kingies on.